Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, 6:30. It is the meeting of the ZBA. I'm going to do things a little bit different, because we have so many people remote. We're going to get the names off of the screen. I'd also like to just put this information out there because we have kind of a skeleton crew. We don't have Mike here helping us out. Just that Eric and Bill are definitely, on remote. With help from the town manager, I'm forwarding some guidelines for the public hearing that I think would be beneficial to cover the beginning of the meeting to avoid losing control. I realize the first two should be not an issue, but the third one will be maybe again. I know that we have some residents that want to be heard, so we'll have you stand up, get your name, and give everybody their time standing. Let's not talk over each other and get all upset, because that doesn't accomplish anything. And if anyone has anything to add after that, they can certainly bring it up. I think we'll go with the roll calls first, and then we'll go to the agenda, if that's fair enough to everyone.
So I see Anthony Cruises.
Hello.
Hi, which application are you here representing?
I'm here. I'm from the Upton Plaza, right across the street from the Maya, the Mexican place. So I'm here for that.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And then I see Thomas Hager. Is he going?
I think his mic's off.
Okay, Deborah Henderson.
I
Hi, which application are you here for?
She's here for the 40B.
Okay. Oh, that's Maya. Okay. And how about Sean Murphy?
Hi, I'm here for the apartments or the townhouses by Brook Street.
Okay, thank you very much. And John Smolak?
He's our attorney.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. I knew the name sounded familiar. And then Michael Pensack also, that is with the 40B as well.
So
Oh, he's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, if there is anybody online that I did not call up, if you could just let me know your name and which application you're here for. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, everyone. The first item is the variance for 14 Plumley Road application for Daniel White, requesting a variance pursuant of Chapter 10, Section 8, Section 300-4.2. The zoning bylaw. The applicant is requesting relief from the setback of the side yard to install a pool house on property within the agricultural district, parcel 2924. That's you, okay?
yes.
Could you come up and maybe just tell us what you're doing and maybe what?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show a little better. So essentially, I was here last month or 2 months ago. We got granted access into the easement to build a hot tub. It's slightly into the easement. We use the same methodology when we're using the easement to put a pool house that will kind of block with you, pool mechanicals and provide a bathroom outside, so the kids don't have to run inside each bathroom. Aesthetically, it's perfect in that spot. And we're already using that space, including the rest of the hot tub right there. I'd like to put the pool house over there as well, just for functionality, aesthetics, safety, all those good reasons. It's better off having it from the house right in that area. It's not into the easement, it'll just be partially a little bit. We got to be here, I have a bit of cover letter with the.
See it better up here.
It's essentially running down the same exact easement line that the hot tub is already utilized. Makes sense to put it there for both of it.
Yeah, the 14 Plumley, yes. It's in your folder still, and I'm just trying to see if I
Yeah,
can.
we have to.
Yeah, you have
I
everything.
was up to see if anybody else wanted to see the plan, kind of what would be.
It's a public hearing, notice.
It doesn't have any
botanicals for the pool, right?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it'll shield it from view. We're in the pool, but all have access around it to service it.
My thought was just with noise, like the equipment's gonna make some noise, right?
The equipment is already there. The pool tables are already there. The pool house itself will make noise.
I have a couple of questions. The two showers, but the toilet and the hand basin, where do they drain to?
We're gonna tie right into we're gonna trench and tie right into the main drain lines.
Okay. And also, there's enough screening between all of this and the church parking lot? I've only seen it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it's on the complete opposite side of church parking lot.
Yeah, but the screen is visually, you're setting up the screen, it's very seen from the parking lot of the building.
Yes, and like, I think what you're thinking is that, if you're looking at my house, the pool parking lot is actually completely diagonally back across the pool on the other side. So it's basically further point from.
Sure. Okay.
No, and then there is the easement there. Is there any concern or, with that space? And only because sometimes those things pop up later, become an
I
issue.
assume all that risk, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think that- I think that- to-
Just as a side note, Helena, the link on the on the
Okay.
agenda to the materials
Get
is not
mentioned
something we
because
can
sometime
see.
down the road, something might pop up and you'll have to worry about it. That's all.
Hold on.
say-
What did you say, Bill?
The link to the materials on the ZBA agenda, for some reason isn't working.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Bob, my only questions, I'd like to know how the neighbors feel about it. And I would hope that we'd have a provision to that, should anyone access that easement, that this building is on an easement and would have to be removed because it is an easement.
Yeah, it's the same logic that we were using for the hot tub. If it were to ever come under question of, we need to use this or something, both my parents and I would have to give up property within that easement for use. I think that, yeah, I totally understand. But again, this isn't fully within the easement either way. It's only utilizing a little bit of, trying to get it as far as I could, but I really need something.
Yeah, but definitely document that as a condition, though.
I don't know if we want to document that as a condition, since that easement is, as far as we know, privately owned. It's not owned by the town. That's really a matter of private enforcement. I don't know that the zoning board, wants to be involved in enforcing private rights.
I will bow to your superior knowledge, sir.
The only other thing I have, in addition to Bill asking whether there are any neighbors who have comments, I asked Helena to forward, and she sent around this redlined version of amendments that were made to the Zoning Act. These were snuck into the budget bill that was signed on the 9th, and pretty much
Yes.
no one knew these were coming down the pipeline, but it changes the variance standard. I don't know that that has any practical impact for us in terms of what we're doing tonight, but it's something we should discuss at some point, and it will impact how the decision gets written. So whatever our form is for variance decisions will not be good for issuing a variance if we approve one going forward, including tonight.
Is that something Central Mass Planning might do, like an educational night on, and how to write them correctly now under the new standard? Or how are towns to learn how to write them so they agree with the new standard?
So that's a really good question, and I'm hoping that some of the regional planning agencies will help with that in the future. I think right now people are still kind of dealing with the shock of seeing this. It was the day after that bill was signed, and somebody caught this buried in the thousands of pages of that budget bill, it was quite a shock to the whole Massachusetts Municipal Lawyers Association.
I think the only new section that might impact it will be whether the benefit sought by the petitioner can be achieved by some other method feasible for the tenant or petitioner. Thank you when you say no.
Well,
It's new-
yeah. So it outlines some considerations for the board. Really, the big difference is that the old variance standard was next to impossible to meet in a literal application. This changes it to a much more flexible standard relating to whether there's a practical difficulty for the property, whether there's a financial hardship to the owner. It's much more flexible. It's really meant to promote housing. This is meant to make it easier to build houses, but it's not limited to houses. So it's going to have a broad application, and we really don't know how it's going to be applied yet.
So you've always been very clear that we had more power to give special permits than variances. Will that change your opinion of that? Will this now have the flexibility that you're okay with us doing a variance versus a special permit?
It's going to be easier for someone to defend a variance under this standard. Yeah.
Okay.
And under the old standard. Yep.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you sent that out and sent it around. I read it and I was like, oh, that sounds a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Okay.
pretty significant changes, but yeah.
And of course, in the middle of the night, they sneak it through. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe we can ask Mike to keep an eye out for the Central Mass Planning to see if they're going to do, or maybe we can ask Central Mass Planning,
Yeah.
hey, can you do a seminar on this? Because I'm sure we're not the only ones that would want to go.
Yeah.
Because certainly Mike should go. Anyone on our board should go. I'm always willing to learn new stuff because things are always changing.
Okay, before we
Okay.
get to the variance, is there any more questions from anyone in the neighborhood or any of you guys?
I just have one question. What is that thing attached to your pool house on the left? I can't believe it. No, the thing that's in an angle. in the plot plan.
That was the one that says the dark rectangle on the angle there.
Yeah.
That was a different plan, that there's not. They said, well, let's put the shed over, eventually I said. Further from the easement, so somewhere about there, there'll be somewhat in the easement, somewhat out of the easement. But there's nothing there right now.
Just on the paper.
It was just on the paper, yeah. It was for my landscape architect. Suggesting putting a shed there. And that's why I couldn't do there. But there's nothing there right now. There's nothing to do right now. I have Mike Pensack, my neighbor, who lives right next to me, also here tonight.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Michael Pensack here from 16 Plumley, next door to Dan here, and a butter on the side. He wants to do this project. And I just want to say I have no objection to what he wants to do, and I fully support his project here.
Cool.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate knowing what the neighbors feel.
Yep. That helps out a lot.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, now that's the easy part. Now we gotta go back to Eric. With the information we have, how do I grant this under the concerns that you brought up? Can I
think you can.
we do it with including the new variance rules, or how do I do that tonight? Yep, postpone
So
things?
Our typical process in the past has just been to move to approve the motion for a variance. If there are no modifications, then as presented in the plan submitted to the board. And then the standard gets the findings that need to be made get written into the decision itself after our meeting. So it's if the board votes to grant the variance, I don't think we need to build those into the motion. I just think it's something that that Michael and Helena are going to have to deal with after the fact of this meeting. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
That means you don't have to worry about it too much tonight. Any other questions, last minute concerns? I was going to, if we can, I guess I can make a motion on this, that we grant the the variance for 118, no, sorry, I got the wrong sheet here. Where did it go? Okay, 14 Plumley Road, I'll get it. For David White requesting the variance for the pool house property within the agricultural zone. There's no extra additives, being the old variance version. Get a second.
I second.
I'll vote in favor.
Those in favor, yes, everyone? Okay, Bill,
Aye.
Eric, I.
Bob Butler,
Okay.
aye.
Bob Hume's aye, it's unanimous. Okay, so you are good, and there's still a appeal period for that?
Yep, so
So-
the decision is, the town clerk should probably be typically, 3 to 5 days after the meeting. There's a 20-day appeal period in the routine.
You can start the work before that, but if it gets appealed, then you still have to go backwards and undo it. So just so you know.
And that has to be recorded, which.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for reminding them.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, we got the variance for 118 Main Street application for Edward Henderson Jr. Requesting a variance pursuant of MGL Chapter 10, Section 30-5.10 of the zoning bylaw. The applicant is seeking a variance to reduce the off-street parking requirement applicable to the property and permit and increase the restaurant capacity from 65 to 96. This property is located in general business zone. He had a couple questions, I guess, was includes more vehicles, obviously, potentially, and that requires more parking that we're not having. So, assuming there'll be more vehicles parked there, or is it just to allow for more seats?
Yeah, sure.
So you could-
Good evening, everyone. I'm Indira Rubila. I'm a manager and a member of My Overall LLC.
Okay.
With the permission of the elected. So the reasoning behind the request is that we'd like to accommodate the request from the community to allow outdoor seating and expand seating capacity from the established occupancy of 65. It does not entail, the variance request does not entail any changes to the operation of the business, any changes to the land use to the premises. So solely during the warmer summer months to allow additional capacity and not having to request the licensing authority change their.
Or grant you for, be able to do this kind of forever, essentially. If we grant it, okay. Because I was noticing the bringing up of the parking. I thought, okay, well, that is a tight spot, but this really isn't for that.
We're not changing the parking situation. I know the parking is tight right now. So the is to allow for in regards to the parking side to the allowed.
Yeah, because there's a square footage in parking versus how many seats you have and all
And
that.
the
So,
bylaw requires strategic spaces, some of the.
Yes, you received my comments I submitted yesterday.
I guess we'll go,
We need a support.
okay, well, we'll give you a minute in a minute. Anybody, any of the guys up there, any other guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Are you regularly bumping up against the occupancy limits during the summer? Like, are you finding the need to expand?
It's not that we are bumping against the occupancy, is that we would like to expand and allow outside seating. However, if we do that, we'll have to take away the seats from inside. But ABTC, we have to, ask for the improvement side, which reduce our insights, then winter have to submit another, and as you know, improvements take some time, so.
Understood. Where are you putting the outdoor?
The outdoor seating would be along, so we're literally only asking to altogether, so it would be.
I'm just trying to visualize it on the building where,
I have submitted, a bit.
yeah.
And then. Is the other streets, basically,
On Maple,
people.
is there are like 2 parallel parking spots there?
So the seatings would not be on the parking lot, it would be right next to the windows, which is.
I see. Okay.
Is there any way we can do this for a season instead of forever to try it? Because I don't know where the cars are going to park, and I don't want them to impact the plaza. But I also want to promote business in town. Can we try do a trial period or something? And
I appreciate your suggestion.
Bill,
From my understanding and the recommendation, from.
Sorry, is this a,
Again,
Gary, did you?
the seasonal investment at ABCC. Very nice. And going.
yeah, I was wondering if we could grant it a certain length of time, and then if it worked, just could extend it. You don't have to do anything. That would allow us to have some control. I was originally thinking of parking because I thought that inside and there was going to be more space. Well, I didn't want to grant it temporarily and then have you put in seats and then remove seats if it didn't work. But I don't disagree with Bill's idea of something temporary that we just say yes to after that time rather than have it done. And that way, if there's concerns that we don't see yet, that's one option.
That we asked. So it's probably going to be a next year thing. So
we have
it's going to work out. Just trying to be practical.
yeah, no, that makes sense. I thought it was going to be inside that's why I was concerned.
Number the farm. Says 32, 22. Let me propose.
unfortunately, the audio is cutting out from your end quite a bit. So you might want to depend on the people that are in the room to make the vote. I don't know if Bob or Eric is having the same problem.
Connection's been dropping a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like I can hear people close to the microphone fairly well. I can hear Bob, but anyone further away is breaking up a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe I could ask you to speak closer to that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I can look here.
But that helps.
I heard that.
I heard that, yeah.
The question essentially was about adding additional 10 parking spots. I am asking not to add the spots because we don't have the capacity to add parking spots, right? But allow us to increase the occupancy without having to add the spots. We currently have a lot of people from our community who walk from the neighboring houses. Going to be a good way to promote, our business in the neighborhood.
I feel like there's in one. It's not in one town. There's an exception from
this same building. Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah.
little bit of a hike, but that's okay.
Not a lot of great random street parking, unfortunately. I think that there is legal street parking. It's just not the most convenient.
Do you find people complaining that
They do complain. I'm not going to say no. They do. We do have a very small parking spot, but people find a way. We do have really nice neighbors who do allow our employees to park on their property, for example. So, you know, that kind of also helps. I do know the parking situation is difficult. However, it has been manageable. And I just think it's going to be a good addition, you know, to allow our community to be able to use another outdoor space because we do have it available.
Does anybody know if parking on Hartford Ave, is any restriction on them? It's just kind of a narrow road.
I was gonna say, other than being scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a pleasant place, just people hate.
there are no parking signs?
Yeah, when you get to the center there.
It doesn't say no parking.
Then you can park there, right?
You do have a lot of walkers too from, you know, Millhouse, and there's a lot of dense people. About people.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
walkers, a lot, yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
one of them.
Bob Humes, I know there was a church across the street and that would have a much higher capacity. Was that a problem in the past? And if it wasn't, that's a good sign. If it was, that's not a good sign. But you were someone I count on for the history.
Well, I know when the church was functioning, it was a parking nightmare down there. And they had actually rented it to another church from Whitensville who needed the building temporarily while they relocated. And it was a real nightmare because a lot of people came during that. So yes, there's been, you know, issues in the past, but nothing there now is like it was then. So we're better off than we were because it's just the art gallery now and they're only have limited vehicle travel there.
And my question was really like, do you have so much business that you need to expand the occupancy? And you're telling me no. So if that's the case, then we're not talking about increasing the amount of traffic to the business. We're just talking about moving the seats inside.
Exactly. However, again, just because how regulations work, I can't really easily move them from inside to outside, unfortunately. So
we don't anticipate a lot more physical traffic of people because we have this more seats. We're just going to be spreading them out in different places, like how it sounds.
That's what it
exactly,
sounds like.
exactly.
Because I honestly think there's less traffic now than when it first became a restaurant, because in the beginning, everybody goes and then it tapers off to the, you know, normal use.
Right, and
So-
people know now, right, parking locations and stuff, and I hear a lot of people saying, you know what, I live a mile away and I'll still walk because it's healthy, or I'm gonna get extra margarita. To walk.
Which is
So
unhealthy, so I'm super excited.
it's better to
With
walk.
the size of your margaritas, it's good to be a walking restaurant.
Right, right.
Other comment that I have, I don't know, is the edge of the road, very close there, being an intersection, being a lot of traffic, not going fast, hopefully, but you have trailer trucks coming there. Is there anything we plan on putting there, a safety barrier of some sort? Only because, you know, trailer truck slides off that road, hits those trouble. And usually my request has been to have something put there, even if it's a, you know, the sand-filled barrier that's temporary.
We're gonna have
So we
huge
can-
planters, so it's going to be very beautiful. They're gonna be big planters with a lot of soil in them, beautiful flowers. So that will kind of serve as a barrier. We also asked for a feedback from our police, so they
Okay.
kind of said that they don't have any concerns
Okay.
in that regard.
That was gonna be my next
So
question. that they-
hopefully, you know, unfortunately, there is always a chance to be struck by a truck. Hopefully, it never happens. I don't think it should, but we will be putting a barriers there
Okay, good, because
in the format.
it's something to give people a chance to run.
Right.
Sir, do you have something you'd like to present to us?
What if this is an opportunity for the public to comment?
Yes, yep.
Is everybody?
Is everybody here done? Bill, you guys good up there?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay, Bob. I'm
Okay.
and step up
I-
to. So
Yeah, I was just keeping the video off in hope that the signal coming through would be better, and I think it is marginally.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Henry Lane, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. McCormick. Owns the property at 112, which is one building over one, 140. So, primarily our concerns, look, we'd like everybody to be successful in their business, just like Mr. McCormick is successful in his business. Unfortunately, the parking issue has been a problem for years. You're not allowed to park on the state highway, so that takes out that whole area. Back in, I guess it was 2011, when the current parking range was permitted, I guess. It was a sketch prepared, which I think is attached to the application, which shows 21 theoretical parking spaces. Not entirely sure how much that reflects reality. I would suspect that it probably does. But in any event, I guess that was good enough to try to get approvals for 65 seats.
What sketch is that?
So that's good.
Yep, same one.
Um,
I think he's referencing the number of parking spots that are identified on that. Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah. So as I understand it, again, I haven't researched it as thoroughly as I might have, but apparently, when you do the calculations, the 21 spaces shown on that plan met the requirement for 65 seats. But I suggest to you that the requirement in the bylaw of one parking space for every 3 seats in the restaurant, totally unrealistic. That might have worked in 1958 when your zoning bylaws were adopted. Everybody had 1 car. Now everybody has 3 cars. People don't come 3 at a time. They come 2 at a time, maybe, and some people come by themselves. So the existing requirement is unrealistic, as is shown by experience. Mr. McCormick's experience is much like the gentleman across the street with the little shopping center. People park in his parking lot and hike over because there's not enough real parking at the restaurant. So it's not actually working as it is now. So add additional seats, that's this problem that we know exists. And I point out as well, if you look at this plan, you'll see that the majority of the parking is actually in the residential zoning district, which is not a permitted use. So you're already encroaching on the residential zone by the existing parking, and anything else you do is only going to make that worse. So I've got sufficient legal parking currently, and to add seating is going to make that even much worse. If they can't control the current patronage and get them to park legally, this is only going to make it worse. And, I'm not exactly sure where these outdoor tables are going to be, but I would suggest that if you have tables along Maple Street, you're not going to be able to park there. In reality, you're going to be eliminating those spaces. As I say, when you look at this plan, I think some of these plans are just not realistic, that you're going to get a third space behind the existing, I would again, that the proposed space in red on that plan is also in the residential zone. It's not a legal parking spot. So adding that space, it is also not allowed. So, and again, going back to the idea of 3 seats per car, doesn't account for employees. Now, I don't know how many employees in a restaurant on an average night, and not how many cars they come in, but I suspect they don't all walk. So you're probably eliminating, somewhere between 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces just by employee parking. So, in reality, you're just not accommodating what you need for the spaces that you have. Now, I understand sort of the argument is that, well, we're going to have one or the other, but not both. But in reality, if you grant the variance, there's no control. You can't say, okay, you can't use, 30 spaces inside the restaurant because you have 30 outside. There's really no way to control that. If you've got, they're asking for 90, I think it's at 96 And if you have a busy night, you're probably gonna have 96 patrons. There's no way for you to control the process by saying, look, you can't, you can't have more than 65 people at any one time because you're essentially allowing to have 96. So, it's an untenable situation. I think realistic. What is a minimum should require, an updated plan showing where these parking spaces really are. And then, I'm sorry. Then seeing if they can come up with some legal space to park. Because, otherwise you're just making an existing situation that's untenable even worse. So, I'm aware of the fact that they changed the zoning standards, last Thursday. I have not really mastered the changes. I've been using the old system for,
Yeah, we're still on the old at the moment.
I've been using the old system for 49 years. I'm going to school and relearn the new rules, but still, neighborhood impact is obviously a key consideration. The effect on your neighbors is really primary concern. And as it's already a problem. So anything you do to increase the amount of non-compliance is only going to exacerbate that problem. And I strongly urge the board, unless they can come up with a legitimate parking plan to take care of additional parking, or even the parking that's currently needed, it's just not fair to the neighbors to impose additional parking burdens on their property. We talked briefly, and I talked to Mr. McCormick about this, if there's some way to, fence out his property so that they could prevent people from parking on his lot. And he tells me that, it might be helped to have some fencing along the perimeter so that people wouldn't have direct access and would have to walk around a little further. But, he can't block it entirely because of existing easements. So he can't cut off, the ideal, if you could build a fence along the common boundary line and basically prohibit people from going through, it would solve this problem, but he can't do that. As I say, it can partially block it, but not entirely. But it would certainly be an improvement. Slow down or reduce the amount of people who might cut through and park in his parking lot and walk over. But the real solution is, the restaurant needs to come up with a better parking plan, whether they rent space, and, there does appear to be room in the neighborhood, but they've got to come up with a parking plan that makes sense before this makes sense.
Is it okay to answer?
Yeah, I mean, we'll give him his
Yeah.
I just want to question though, I apologize, it was previously mentioned, but those 4 spaces that are proposed parking easement.
We have 4 spaces, kind of like outside that those are like employee parking spaces. We have them already. And then we added 2 additional, I think it was 2 or 3 additional spaces that we already are using, which were not on this map previously. So I just updated the map because we have added those parking. And if you visit our site, folks are currently parking there. So we have employee spaces only, which are not. I don't believe they're in here, but the places where I added in red, so we just drew lines where people can park because previously there were no parking lines upline. So
It already exists or they're proposed.
they do.
So the 4 are proposed in the set up there.
Again, I'm not proposing any addition of the parking spots. The map that was given to me seemed to be outdated. We have outlined new parking capacity, which added 2 additional parking spots to where previously it shows we had parallel cars parking parallelly, where there are 2 cars only, but we split it into 4. So now 4, and that's happening today already. If you visit the restaurant.
So why does it say proposed? Is that from, is this an old plan?
That's
Oh, sorry.
there are two spots that it says. Strangle.
There are two spots in the old plan and then,
And then there are these.
so these are.
I'm not either. I'm gonna get the rice going now.
So where it says proposed, those are our spots already. I'm not sure why it's.
I think he's right, you know, you didn't want to do something. Showing the actual reality. What's happening.
The actual reality is
Whatever.
what I have shown in here.
7:45.
I'm not sure if
Oh, good.
updated, but this is the reality.
Including 4 in the easement and the 3 in red.
Right.
Now, what did you say about green beans? Not tonight.
You know, one is.
14 and 15.
Did you see any pictures of last night's sun? Because it looked orange.
Everyone that-
People said, no, that's the sun with all the.
Here from the other.
It's orange, pretty.
Okay, Siri, shut down.
So these belong to our neighbors. They allow us to park, so our employees actually,
I see.
yeah. So 3 parts.
So you do just count 19, you're 20, that's 24. I think she just counted 24.
24 altogether, including the 4 which say proposed parking easement right now.
But not including 2 that the neighbors have gifted for employee parking. 26, including 2 gifted from a neighbor for employees.
Okay, we need a better plan. I can see.
Be a little more detail and a little better, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because, and then thinking outside the box a little bit, is there other options? Employees could park somewhere else in a lot that would allow you to. Oh, you know, valet possibly somewhere for the busiest, so that, you know, they're just being brought in, parked somewhere else. I don't know, I'm just thinking of things that might. But it is very crowded and dense and part, you know, and you're right about the parking behind is not as big as.
Is Duncan open?
Right.
Is
And
Is
I
that-
certainly want to address Mr. McCormick's concern. We talked yesterday. I appreciate you stopping by. It's important that our customers don't park in, you know, other properties. So we remind them all the time not to park there, obviously. What I could also do, add additional signs at the door once they come in. We also talked about putting cones at night so nobody passes through your property, so.
They park in my yard and traffic leaving their parking spots go through my yard to beat the red light. They zoom around that side. So what's typically a dead driveway by 6 PM now has activity until maybe 11.
It's,
So if I could share a comment that I prepared, I don't know if everyone had the opportunity to read that or not. I submitted it to the office yesterday. So again, Bill McCormick, 112 Main Street. What I submitted, basically, it goes like this. At 112 Main Street, we've been impacted by restaurant patrons parking in our yard, traffic heading through and coming and going to 118 Main Street. This has occurred for years since Rebecca's was first there. Later, 118 Main took over, and as part of their approval process, they were mandated to have valet parking. They valet parked on 140, and that was allowed for a while, but as you know, you're not supposed to park on a state highway. So now that Maya's there, cars are still in my lot, even though we have a sign posting no restaurant parking past a certain point. They cut through the property, and again, there's traffic until maybe 11 o'clock. Last people leave. So to reduce the parking, which is in the request, but I don't see how many spots they're requesting to reduce by, okay? While increasing the seating, 96 seats would mandate 32 spots. The plan that they submitted suggests 21. 2 of the spots aren't there, spot 14 and 15. So there's, I think, less parking than, they're underneath that group of 1 through 9 on the plan there. So to reduce the parking for a situation that's not working while you increase the head count is going to go poorly. So yesterday I did approach the proponent and asked what plans they had to control parking. And there was none. And we, at the moment on our feet, came up with maybe some cones could be put out there to stop traffic entering from my property. They could do it at their property line, okay, and stop that, park a car across there. Over the course of the summer, when they do the Tuesday taco $2 night, I park my truck across there to stop traffic. I mean, I shouldn't have to manage their traffic. So further, if there is outdoor, I don't know what hours are restricted for outdoor use. Is it by season? Is it by day? Is it by till 10 p.m.? I don't know what concerns would be put on that. And if that's something that you put in place or ABC puts in place. I don't.
It wouldn't be past 10 o'clock. We close at 10 p.m.
Where's that mandated? I guess that's my question.
Our business hours till 10 p.m.
On your license.
Yes.
Okay, so it's always closed by 10?
We close at 10, yes.
So help is still leaving up until 11, those that clean up. So that's my point. So that's the concern. The impact is there. I don't, as of yesterday, there was no plan, and that's why I'm here today.
Mr. McCormick, you have to be fair. Our business is not the only one passing through your parking lot. And as we talked, I will take any measures, putting cones, putting signs out, not to pass through your parking lot. But you must be fair. Our business is not the only one whose cars are passing through your parking lot.
Where do they come from?
Not the only one. I see a lot of other cars going through different businesses.
The daycare has access.
Going on, that's what I think we always need a little better information, more parking. And then maybe collectively, you guys can come up with a little more of an agreement that you present to us, that you guys will do. Fine as well, certain hours, pay parking.
Yeah. BP and Dunkin' Donuts both close at 7 p.m. Is it possible that an arrangement could be made with either of those owners to be able to use their spaces once their businesses have closed for the evening? Because it wouldn't be a bad walk from Dunkin' Donuts over if they could arrange to use that space during the off hours.
We have an arrangement with the post office. Sorry, they use our parking spot during the daytime because we don't really have business during that time. So we use their parking spot at night. And then the plaza across the street, we also have a verbal agreement where they do allow us to park next to.
That's our.
Would those be made official?
Could I add something, please? Because she's talking about our building in particular.
Yeah.
Okay, so we own the building across the street, the 113 Main Street, the one that has the little coffee bean and all of that. We have tried. We've gotten several complaints from all of our tenants about them losing parking spots to across the street. I've gone over multiple times and I've spoken to the man over there. I can't remember his name, but the owner, and said to him, look, if we tried to come to an agreement where I said, if you guys are okay with parking all the way down by the bank side, when, because the bank is closed after 4:30, 5 o'clock, but the convenience store, the pizza place, they're all still open. If we park on the other side, I'm okay with it. But it's never been the case. It's gotten to the point now where our tenants are upset at us because they're losing parking spots to what's going on across the street. So while I want to, while we're all about small businesses and supporting small businesses, every one of our tenants, with the exception of the bank, is a small business. They're starting to affect our businesses. And we tried to come to an agreement. We tried to make sure that, we had something, because I don't want, the last thing we want to do is not get along with our neighbors. But it's gotten to the point now where it's a problem. It already has been a problem. I haven't started towing cars yet. I don't want to, and I've said that very many times. There's signs everywhere that gives us the authority to tow a car, and I've said I don't want to start towing cars. But it's to the point now where I'm getting tenants upset at us because we're not stepping up to try and, save parking spots for their businesses while they're operating, so the people across the street can park there. So if it's already a problem, just like what Mr. McCormick and Mr. Lane said, how can we increase occupancy and not increase parking? I mean, it's going to become an issue. And it's going to become an issue with our tenants. And the last thing I want to do is, like I said, start towing, because that would be a problem. So ideally, what we need to do is find a solution to what's happening now. Let now get fixed, work out what they've got going on now, and then we can revisit it another time. But we need to fix what's happening now as opposed to adding more occupancy.
Yeah, I tend to agree, because when this came up, I thought of automatically some kind of limit, whether it was a time frame limit. So we tried to help see how it goes. So I didn't even have a warm and fuzzy when I saw it, as far as knowing you're going to put more there, whether we took something away and added something, maybe, whether, like I said, we did some kind of valet parking, we brought people up there. But I think my opinion is we need to improve it somehow.
Just for the sake of the whole area too, I find it crazy that there are so many businesses that are closed and so many available parking spaces in general. And the parking spaces that are available for businesses that are still open are the ones that are in contention when there are available parking spaces at other businesses. So this is something that needs to be worked.
Mr. Chair.
My name is Kendall. I am a new business. I actually am in between them at 2 Maple Ave. We have put up signs that say no restaurant parking. Actually, those 4 parking spots at the top are the ones that are gifted from our property over to them as an easement. The one added, where it says one added in red next to the dumpster, that is not there. It's land. It's grass covered land currently. We have tried cones. We have put up signs. Patrons have removed our cones to park there. We're a new business. We're trying to get up and going. I have some nighttime painting and stuff. At first, we were fine. Itsy Bitsy Daycare. And at first we were fine. We went over, we talked to Enrique, the owner, and things were really cordial at the beginning. Then it became uncordial when we had some profanity from employees that parked up there and blocked in our dumpster. We even moved our dumpster over. We tried to be very cordial with Enrique. We tried to go there, speak to him multiple times. It came to the point, police have been called to go and have employees and remove. Like I said, we're closed after 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we even came to Enrique and said, hey, listen, if you guys will come afterwards, like you can use the parking. At first it started that way and then it did not go that way. We had I'm paying a lot of rent to be there. We had our parents with kids having to park in his parking lot because they're customers, and they get rude and nasty when we go to ask these patrons to please move, and they'll just leave their cars and go anyway.
Are the problems with patrons or with the employees? Because you said
both. We've had multiple employees, and I know me and another neighbor nearby have showed up in the morning, and I should have to be picking up empty Corona bottles in my parking lot where we're allowing their employees to park.
Have you had
Yes, we have.
problems like
Recently, a week and a half ago, the lady that owns the duplexes, their landscaping company was up there and we were in kids' backyard, and he had to stop his mower to pick up 3 Corona bottles that were right at the edge where those 4 employee parking spots. I know they're not coming from us. I can't say that they're coming from you because it's a parking lot. But we have brought it, and I spoke to the woman that owns that, and she said that her husband has gone over multiple times to talk about this. So it started off really cordial. And like I said, it's a business. We're a business. I don't want to be at roughs with my neighbors. We used to go there and eat all the time, but it came to the point where it became not cordial any longer. And where we started getting profanity from the employees that were there. And then we called the police, and the police just said at this point, we had them go over we had cones up, the police were there. They watched the patrons remove the cones. I put cameras up around my property after this had happened to protect us as liability. But like I said, it started cordial, like he had said about the parking lot across the street, and then it has just become not cordial at all.
I think the unfortunate reality is people easiness or whatever, that's what they're gonna do. They don't have a lot of consideration.
No. little more improvement there, whether we talk to some people and think about some other ideas, I think. I'm gonna ask those guys in a second, but Mr. Henderson, seeing as you're here,
The last thing I want to be doing is speaking about this parking before this board tonight. My brother owns the property. My niece is on. She's an attorney, but she's having a hard time connection. We'll bring you up to speed about the four parking spots. My brother bought that from Mr. Wood probably 20. When they did the survey, they found out that the dock of the post office was my brother's property from there over. So he was going to block it off, not have the road come through, and then the federal government involved. So the family that owned the property then had the deed. It's in the deed. It's recorded 4 parking spots. The red building on the backside. It's in the deed. Since that time, more people have owned it, et cetera, and that's probably gone by. When the post office goes out of there, my brother will pick up 6 parking spots. I'm not here to make any determination other than I think the plan needs to be redone so everybody can it, and you can look at it, go back at the deed, see exactly what the deed says. But there are 4 additional parking lots to that property. Thank you.
Well connected, man. And here from touch.
okay, well, that's what we need to get.
That's what we need.
Are we gonna just, someone else like to speak? Yes, come on up. Sure. Sorry. Yeah, there's a microphone.
Just so that they can hear you.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Piet, and I'm a resident of Upton. I live at 111 Main Street, so I'm within walking distance. When I moved to Upton in the spring of 2024, I didn't know anyone in town. One of the first places I walked to was Maya Mexican, and I've been a regular there ever since. Oh, my heart's racing. Sorry.
I get nervous out
Oh
here.
my goodness, I'm an actress. I should be used to this.
Yes,
This is harder than being on.
As a nearby neighbor, I find myself walking there often. I truly believe outdoor seating would be a valuable addition to the business and a wonderful enhancement to the customer experience. It would create an inviting space for residents and visitors alike to gather and continue supporting this local business that has become a very important part to the community. Maya has had a positive impact, not only on me personally, but on Upton as a whole. It has been a place where people can connect, meet neighbors, and feel welcomed. I strongly support the proposed outdoor seating because I believe it represents thoughtful growth to our town, supporting a local business, engaging walkability, which was mentioned earlier, and creating more of a vibrant gathering space for its residents. Maya has already become a meaningful part of the Upton community, and I believe this addition would only enhance that positive impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree that Upton doesn't have a lot of third spaces.
Right. I'm sympathetic with all of that, but and even if we can mitigate the issues to Mr. McCormick's property somehow, and the issues to the parking spaces across the main street, if we go ahead with this permit, fewer than 32 spaces, we are then creating an incentive for people to park in dangerous spots. So that is a risk. Community, but that is a risk that we implement. We are somehow creating the opportunity for people to park on Main Street.
I don't think anyone wants to.
Apart from that, yeah, it's great you want to expand, and I really appreciate what you're saying, but we are in danger of creating a danger.
Yes.
No one wants to discourage your restaurant from thriving.
Oh, absolutely.
It's where the 4th restaurant that's been there since, it would be great for you to do well, but we can't have it, people parking in other people's areas, and it just doesn't work.
Of course, I agree with that. I don't support people parking at, not our property, not their property. So I agree with that. However, again, I don't think we would be necessarily increasing the capacity. We would be just adding outdoor seating. Unfortunately, the way the laws have been written within the Alcohol Board Commission and the town itself, it's not an easy process just to switch from outdoor seating to indoor seating. So it's difficult.
Do you have outdoor seating indicated in your plan? You have proposed outdoor seating?
It's
kind of scribbled on a couple of the margins there. I agree that the plan needs to be a little.
I have provided a visual rendering. I'm not sure like if it wasn't included.
This is the only paperwork that I have.
Okay.
Check your folder.
Hi, Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Deborah Henderson. May I be recognized?
We can't hear you well.
Deborah Henderson.
Okay. I think it sounds like we need to provide a more complete plan that is easier to comprehend why this makes sense. I think there's a lot of history to the parking lot behind the restaurant and the post office and the neighboring property. And I can hear that in people's voices this evening. There is an easement, a proper easement and spaces that are provided elsewhere, but it sounds like the best approach would be to provide you with a more complete picture. And I do believe, you know, in what Indira is saying is a permit for, you know, for the BC, if she wanted to have 30 tables outside, she would only be able to have 30 tables inside, which is unsustainable for a restaurant in the winter in Massachusetts. So I think what they're trying to accomplish is the opportunity to have seats outside in the summer, which would be wonderful in an Upton environment. We need to show you a plan that makes that feasible.
I think we're
Gonna send.
Yeah, I think.
Did everybody speak then?
I think so. Everybody else on the floor?
Has anybody else not spoken online as well?
Yeah, Bill, Eric, have you guys got any comments up there?
I think a clearer plan is probably a smart idea, and potentially have her check with some of the businesses that close earlier, even if they're a little further away, like Dunkin', maybe possibly be able to provide some more spaces too. I would prefer that she be able to keep the number she has and move them outside, or just make it a temporary time. So it's just like, you know, in the really good weather months. But I would be reticent to give additional seats until either the parking gets improved or resolved, or a more coherent plan is provided. That's just my thought. I'm flexible. I do want to support local businesses, because the last thing I want to have happen is them to give up on the location and move somewhere else. I want businesses to do well in town.
Yeah, I agree. I think in that case, Eric, have you got any comments, Maury? Disconnecting?
No, I'm a big fan of Maya. I want them to succeed there. But I agree. I think we need a clearer plan, and I really hope that they are able to work with some of their neighbors to come up with plans for additional parking when those other businesses are closed, because I think there should be some opportunities down there.
Okay. So the general consensus, where we have this in front of us, do we have to vote to have them to retract until they give us an updated version?
I think can we just do a continuance? Can we do a continuance?
Continuance, yeah. Okay.
We could either do a continuance, or they could ask to withdraw without prejudice, depending on what they think their timing is for getting the next application in. It's up to them.
But continuance costs nothing, where if they withdraw, they would have to re-notify everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So continuance is the cheaper option.
Yeah.
Can we request a continuance?
Yeah, the audio cut out really bad there for me.
Yeah, me too.
On this, so if the board members that are there Because we couldn't hear any of that. If you could request, if if you feel it's appropriate for someone to make a motion for a continuance, my vote would be for that.
So we are presenting of the thing. Do we want it, those things clear parking space narrative and maybe make something with the other businesses that was talked to as part of the.
Without prejudice, why we're on plan. Space. Narrative of how you will be able to work.
The audio went very poor for me. I couldn't hear that. So the people in the room are going to have to make that decision. I couldn't hear it.
Go slow.
Actually, to continue, Bill, that's really what it's saying.
Okay, thank you, Bob. For some reason, you're coming out nice and clear. Maybe there's a mic.
He's
in your
closer
ear or
to the
something.
microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you vote, one other question. What's the deadline for acting on the current application, and do we need a written request from the applicant so that this isn't constructively approved?
What's the new law?
Can I remember when we've continued before? Oh, no, because the 40B continues each month.
Yeah.
Yes, so we just, yeah, no, I don't think, we would only need the letter if she was going to withdraw without prejudice.
No, I think there's a statutory timeline for acting on a request for a variance, and if we don't act within that, it's constructively approved. That can be told, but only by a writing from the applicant.
I think that Mike, I thought it was 90 days, but Mike has that information.
I'm looking at, it's 100 days.
So,
that should be plenty
for the decision. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think that's fine to get us to our next meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
A question. So a zoning request like this runs with the property, right?
Yes, it's recorded.
Some of the application was done tenant, not the owner. Is that appropriate?
If it's
I
a
have
variance,
the letter from the owner filing the
I thought
application.
Tenant.
Yep, but we have the letter from the owner of the property stating that she can enter that application. Yep, it's on the website, but I don't, it was attached to the packet.
Okay.
You're welcome. Okay, so Mike,
Second.
Mike's motion. Who's
I'll second.
We also.
Yes. Yes, we vote to continue,
Yes.
and we have 100 days.
Okay. I think if I heard correctly, it was moved and seconded, so I would vote yes for a continuance.
Eric Russell, aye.
So what'd you say?
Bob voted yes, Eric voted yes.
August 19th is the next meeting.
Did you vote yes?
I vote yes.
Okay.
I vote yes.
Okay. It's unanimous. I vote yes. Do you want to move it?
Okay.
Continue.
Continue to the August 19th zoning board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions about what additionally they asked for, let me know and I'll help you. Okay, perfect. You're welcome.
Yeah, so I think everybody voted yes. All everyone voted.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now we get to start the meeting.
I was gonna say, I thought that was gonna be the easy one.
Well, it's a factor about not
Okay.
getting too ahead. But yeah.
You'd be happy to be here.
So we have to get, I guess we have to open the hearing for the comprehensive permit for 5 Millwood Street, continuation of previous adventures. I guess we have to put it. Okay, yes. I made the motion to, the comprehensive permit reopen. Can I get a second? Everybody voting yes?
Yeah, we can, do we need to even vote to open it? I'm confused.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
Small business looks so easy, doesn't it?
no, it's a lot of headaches and a lot of headaches you don't get paid for.
Oh, are you saying you want the chairman job, Bob?
Good after
I
tonight.
said my seat keeps getting closer. I'm gonna move back over here.
All right, we'll get through it. We always manage to.
You live in the geography in town.
He's good at it. Good evening, Mr. Lopes, sir.
Good evening.
Have you have the floor for a few minutes?
Okay, I'm gonna let David just start off to give you guys a quick recap of.
Yeah, just logistically what's happened. Two things to know I'm going to talk about. We got a third peer review letter back. I'm sure that's been circulated. So there are still a few minor kind of things to clean up. I believe we got that not last week, but I think the Friday before. So last week there were some other calculations that went. We resubmitted the HydroCAD files as well as kind of put in some additional labels of the plan. Nothing from the plan has substantially changed since the last time. And then the second, this week on Monday, I sent a draft of the comprehensive permit. So, that was done by me, our attorney, Smolak, and Mike, Mike Antonellis gave his thoughts before he left. And what he wanted in there as well. We based it off the 47 Main application with, obviously things taken out because that's an apartment building and this is a condo project. So, and then we submitted new plans today, as well as a new, updated comprehensive permit. Every time new material is submitted, it changes the comprehensive permit. So that's why it was issued again. Though that's kind of the logistic stuff that's happened. And then Kevin can kind of take away some of the more substantial things. So
The real deep stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you probably all received the letter that we've been working on. So we from the last meeting, David and I, a little bit of help with Michael, we took the initiative to reach out personally out to DOT to find out, like, hey, this is very important to try to get these sidewalks connected. So Ann at DOT, who we've worked with quite a bit, she's also the DOT liaison for the projects that are currently going on in Upton. She looked at it. She kind of gave us a high view of what it was going to take to be able to get a sidewalk connected. And that took probably a week and a half or so. So rather than just sitting around, we decided to reach out to State Rep, Dave Meridian, and also Senator Fatman for their input on how much they could help push this for the town. They really jumped on it very aggressively. They both reached out to Ann. Well, Ryan might have had his assistant help, but David reached out directly to Ann, and that's the letter that obviously we submitted. The state reps wanted to let the town know, let us know, let the neighbors know that they were fully committed to, making that happen. So with that being said, I can tell you that we wouldn't stop on trying to get that to, be a reality, which I think there was nothing that Ann said that would tell us that it's not going to be a reality. It's just a matter of the timing. Is it going to be done in 3 months? Probably not. But is it a year to 2 years? I thought that the probability of that was probably pretty high. But along with that, I guess I think I've been trying to be pretty, I don't know if the word's neutral. I'm trying not to upset the board, trying not to upset the neighborhood. I'm just trying to be Switzerland, I guess. But I do think that tonight, I really would like to, I'm going to use the word ask, I guess, because I don't want to say request, because that's not really I can't do that. You're the board. But I'd really like to ask the board to just not, make this a condition of this permit. I think that I don't want to be repetitive, but clearly, quickly, I'm concerned with the neighborhood, concerned with the community. We've already been down that road of how much we've worked together. I think that the other thing that I wanted to point out, as far as the neighborhood is concerned, is it wasn't it wasn't that they just came out day one and just said, we don't care about any connection. I mean, to be really fair, I think everyone in the Brook Street, Piccadilly area understood that if the fire or the police department came out and determined that we needed to have an emergency connection there, that was sort of an unwritten thing that I think we had as an agreement with the neighborhood that said, look, I can't fight the safety. And they said, we wouldn't want to ask you to do that. But if that letter didn't come through and the police and fire didn't think that that was necessary, we really don't want a connection, right? So that's quickly, just one more time, I feel like my relationship with the neighborhood and clearly that the neighborhood is passionate about not having that walkway, and we're trying to help bridge the gap by pushing DOT, pushing our state, senator and state rep to just make this make more sense. And then the other thing that I did want to just quickly talk about in regards to this is it came up, I'm not sure which member brought it up, but at one point it was said lightly that, this is a little bit like some of the other projects, Kevin, where you've done some trails, you've done some connections. And I guess I'm a little embarrassed because it's been so long since I got Rockwood Meadows approved, but we also got Dean Pond approved, which is a really big open space project. I also got Cobbler's Creek, approved, which is a large open space project. And the letter that one of the neighbors wrote, that I'm drawing a blank on his last name right now, we read that letter, Davies, yeah. And it was interesting because he brought up the point about the insurance. And honestly, there's so much going on all the time, I wasn't thinking about that. And we went back in time and realized that when we originally got Rockwood Meadows approved, we actually had the parking and the trail system for the community at large inside the project. And what happened was we actually did start to work with our insurance companies, and they said, there's no possibility that we're going to give you a liability policy that you could ever afford if you're planning on having non-residents travel through private property. I mean, it's you have to understand that whether the project is 5 units or 500 units, it is the equivalent of you giving someone the permission to have 100 people walk through your driveway every single day at your own house. Like your liability insurance, they're just not going to do it. Just to give you a little bit of a timeline, that's what actually enacted this whole way that we started doing the open space projects in Upton for at least our projects. And that was that we designed open space, and then we put parking and public access and trail systems in the open space because that land was being deeded, whether it was deeded to the Peppercorn Hill, Association or Upton Concom and stuff like that. So
Kevin,
this really would be a burden on us, to be honest. And Kevin, I guess I don't want to
I'd like to speak. Kevin, I'd like to speak for a moment.
Anyway,
we're not asking non-residents to be able to walk to Brook Street.
Your comments?
I think it's Bill trying to talk.
Yeah, hang on there, Bill. We'll get to it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a prepared statement, but what Kevin has just said, I think renders it largely moot. About what you said.
Can you hold that thought for 1 second so I can read one piece? Why I want to back onto that in that direction at the moment. I read through the letters, I read through all of them. The piece that has really captured my attention is from Mr. Henderson, and it's paragraph 8. It says, against this framework, in addition to the walkway proposed by the ZBA chair. Now that bugs me a little bit because the ZBA, I don't think, should be forcing things on that no one is asking for. That's kind of, if Bill wasn't in Maine, I would be saying it differently. So that bothers me. And the walkway was not included in the developer's original application, which goes back to you. We also know the neighborhood in general. So you've got all these people saying no, and insurance concerns, and you making an effort to produce a sidewalk in lieu of this. I would like to think that's how it should go. That's just me. The general consensus of the last meeting was I was the only one making these comments in that direction.
Mr. Humes, if I
the developer saying no, neighborhood saying no, people saying no, alternate plans aside. To me, if I was the only guy voting, I think that's more than fair. And there's no guarantee about the safety, the insurance, all of that. And then again, my comment is Brook Street, Piccadilly Street aren't streets that are designed for this massive traffic influx. And I know maybe I'm persuading some people, I don't know, maybe when the floor is open again, well, I'll be the only one, but I tend to agree, and I would be nice to get this behind us so we don't keep going over this and this. And I even know the physical stress it's put on the people that live there. And I'm a little biased. I've lived in Upton my whole life. These people have lived in Upton their whole life. I've known them. I know their families, their kids, their businesses. I can't help that 2 cents in there. I mean, maybe that's just me, but you know, when your neighbors are being questioned, you go after the ones you know support them. That's just me. And I'm not against, you know, building the town up and getting walkways and other things, but I don't believe it all necessarily has to be on this plate right now in your condition. That's my piece. I won't say any more. I will turn it to you, sir.
Mr. Humes, may I speak for a moment?
Hold on.
So Mr. Henderson kindly invited me to better understand the location of buildings. So I really want to say, seeing the significant impact of the development will have on the views in the rear of the home, and you think is to, I do appreciate the grace with which you've dealt directly with Mr. Loser and also. But there are a couple of things I just want to put into the mix. We to the road. It's I'm just seeing what I wrote. It's online. It's only wide enough for 2 cars, but only the locals use it. While we were there, a bunch of kids were cycling up and down it with no fear and no adult supervision. That does seem to me it's a safer option than Route 140 right now. We don't guarantee the sidewalk. He's concerned about non-residents using it as a cut through, about dogs fouling his yard, and about motion-sensitive light.
Self, please.
And about the 6-foot fence alongside the path, which I value and would degrade his view. And we also briefly discussed the liability issues that Mr. Davies' letter have amplified and you've talked about. But in favor of opening the path, he can address some of the concerns by requiring a lower rise fence adequate to discourage people and animals, a container on the property to provide bags for dog waste, notices that the development declaring it private, urging the residents to be respectful of the neighbors. People ignore notices, but I think it would reduce liability. What's more important to me is, as I said last month, we are stewards of both current and future residents of Upton. When the development begins to be populated, a homeowners association will be formed under condition C19, and I hope its officers will cultivate good relationships with the neighbors. They will be empowered to make decisions on behalf of all the residents, and it will be presumptuous of us to decide in advance for them. If we did require the path to reopen, they will bear the responsibility to keep it clear, safe, free of snow and ice, to determine the balance between its value and maintenance and insurance costs, to supply the dog waste bags and so on. Or if we leave it open, it will be in their power to permanently close it and foreclose all of those issues. But that cuts both ways. We could instead require the path be paved and closed. In other words, made inaccessible except for emergency, as Mr. Loboser has said, so long as we can also make sure the HOE has the right to open it and accept their responsibilities. So, and I even have proposed conditions for that. But I think I'm now cutting against a stream there, both Mr. Loboser and the residents and some members of this board. I don't have a vote today, have different views, but I really want to emphasize decisions like this about costs and benefits of the path, while respecting the neighbors, belong to the residents, not us.
If I can add something, I would very much like to add something. So I also read the letters. First off, almost every property in town is connected to public roads. There's not a liability issue for the residents of that property to walk to the public road. I'll call BS when I see it. That very same letter, if it's the one I'm thinking of, also suggested that we have a courtesy bus that drive people around. I've never, ever heard that a courtesy bus should make sure that those people don't walk through their neighborhoods. I would take those suggestions at face value. We have a principle as a town that we want a walkable community. That is a value of our town. And to not uphold that value. Now, I am very aware that Mr. Henderson has spent a tremendous amount of time going around town trying to strong arm everyone he can into being against this. But this is against our values. Putting children and families on a highway to walk downtown is unacceptable. Let me repeat that. Putting families walking on a public highway without a sidewalk is unacceptable. It is not safe, and it is shameful that anyone, especially someone who has children themselves, would ever, or even grandchildren, would think of putting families walking on a public highway. Mr. Loverser can play both sides of the street. That's not always the safest thing to do. But honestly, it'd be safer to play both sides of the street on Brook Street than it would be onto 140. There is no sidewalk on 140. There is no sidewalk on Brook Street. I think it would be much safer for families to walk down Brook Street. We don't need to vote on this tonight. I would suggest we don't. And I would also suggest that now, while the idea of a courtesy bus is unique, and we do like to have outside of the box thinking, I would suggest that petitioners before us who have new information present that new information, and that we either continue it to next time or we at some point close the public hearing. Mike is not here tonight, and it sounds like there's been some changes to the application, so I'm a little uncomfortable with closing it. And I would respect if I could get Eric to touch in on that, because if there have been significant changes, I'm unable to access the online meeting notes, materials. For some reason, the web page is not active tonight, and I would like to see what those changes are, because sounds like some of them came in as late as today. Eric, do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree with not closing the hearing today. Yeah, I think with Michael out and changes having come in over the last few days, I think we need staff's eyes on those, and we'd really benefit from that. So I agree.
Thank you.
We agree with that. We didn't anticipate having it closed tonight.
Everyone might be able to see it, and also, even if you want to close it anyways, because once you close it, you can't provide new information. So just if any new information came out or if the board asked for anything, I want to close it. Last time we did it, you close and then you can vote on the same. You don't have to do that. That's how we did last time. We prefer not to close the right to vote just because after it's closed.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make one comment about what Bill said? Sure. Residents, from my experience at Rockwood Meadows, if the residents slip on ice or path, they have the right to sue the HOA. So there would still be a need for insurance with respect to the residents, liability towards the residents, even if you have no responsibility to non-residents. Yeah, so there would still need to be insurance for that reason.
Have something to say?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not an insurance agent, I have no idea, but I don't foresee this path being construed as a public pass-through. I mean, there's no access from the other side. There's no sidewalk.
Well, I would beg to differ, because the MBTA zone for Upton just up the hill, which is why we have the whole sewer project going on. So if there's never a connection made to that sidewalk, if there ends up being 200 units at that MBTA project and they come down the hill to go to town, they're just going to take a left and go right to my project. So I can get I won't be Switzerland if you guys don't want me to. You know what I mean? Like, that is not a condition I ever want to see the project. If we build the sidewalk, I mean, if it's going to keep going, I was hoping to just make my point here and get this over, but what's the law for snowplowing? So does now my association have to keep that sidewalk in perfect condition through blizzard after blizzard if we have a terrible winter? And then with ice,
as every other resident.
Well, yes, but this is a private property. It's, I mean, are you required to do that? Do you have sidewalks that public are walking through your property?
Every sidewalk that's
They would be able to post it. No one's allowed on their property except for the owners of that property. That's true on everybody's house.
On the land, it'd be on the town taking of the roadway. This sidewalk will be on our property, not the town taking.
You can make it first door and then the HOAs or something.
Well, I do understand that, David, but everything that we do, remember, this is still an affordable housing project. So every time that HOA goes higher and higher, and you're part of an HOA, I mean, that insurance could change an HOA $75 a month for an owner.
That's why I'm saying, and I use the word presumptuous to foreclose their decisions. And if they are housing projects want to reduce their costs, we give them a way of doing, close it off.
Look, I agree with Bill. I think that safety is the number one issue. I think that everybody in this room should be prioritizing safety. The biggest concern that I've heard from everybody is that this will be unsafe for them, that adding the sidewalk will increase safety concerns for their properties. I understand if your concern is safety, I would love to see some of this energy put into these very well thought out letters sent to the state representatives so we can get a sidewalk like it should be. If all of you came together and you started writing letters to the state representative to get a sidewalk on 140 where it's supposed to be, then this wouldn't be an issue.
The best solution is to have the sidewalk.
We would need the public to stand up and do that.
There is some sidewalk on 140, isn't there, after Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a connection that needs to be made.
Once you walk down Brook, there is sidewalk. That's what we're basically been saying, is this gets them to sidewalks safer.
You know, past Middle Street on 140.
I'd love to see everybody write these letters to get, some sidewalks on this. Please. I would write one myself.
I'll write too.
But it's gonna take time. Everyone knows with the state, like they've already pushed back the TIP project to what, 2029, Elena? Is it 2029 now? This can be a short-term stopgap. But let's get the stopgap in there. I think we know how the board feels as a whole. I would say let's deal with new business. What has changed in the proposal that's sufficiently significant? And I think, like, I can't open the meeting minutes, so I would say let's continue this. I think we still have several months before we have to issue a decision. I know, Eric, you're correct. You're usually very good on memorizing that. Does anyone know how many months we have?
I believe it's September deadline.
Okay. So if we close the meeting if we close it in August, we have the choice of voting on it in August or closing on it in September, if Helene is correct.
I think it's before the September meeting
Yes.
date, but it is in September.
I think it's
I believe
possible.
in this, our lawyer, John Smolak, could always weigh in here, but I believe once you close it, you have 30 days or 40 days to issue a decision. So, Johnny there?
Yes, it's 40 days.
But once the hearing
After the
closes, you
close
have
of the
30
hearing.
days. Thank you, John. Like we
So-
earlier,
so-
if we could close it with a vote, it's always better, just so, because we can't, after that, no one can kind of produce new information.
Well, we can close it and vote on it in August if we want.
Correct.
I believe that is an option for us, and then we wouldn't even be near the September deadline. But that would give us a month to look at the updates that have been submitted, and I don't know what else we can do other than look at the updates and see how they affect things.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, no, Bill, I would say that's correct, and I would say there hasn't been significant changes. I would say what happened last time is, and I don't want to speak for Mike, but usually Mike will review it, board can review it, and any kind of questions, or the attorneys can always discuss any proposed language. So next time we have the most clean document possible going into the August meeting is, how the next month can proceed.
All right, would anyone have issue
Yeah,
with
no,
me?
that's why we knew that it was last.
Which
Would
they
anyone, would anyone have an issue with me saying, let's continue this to August and making that a motion? Is
No, but
that-
I just I want to ask if there's any questions not concerning the sidewalk. And if that's put aside and Mr. Henderson is here, so could let him have another chance at the podium. And then we'll go ahead and do. Listen.
Thank you. Goal tonight is to bring up other issues in the sidewalk. Sir, we've had the representatives at our property to look at this. So the neighbors have done all they can. They're aware. So that's all been done. Now, it's not memorialized here, but it has.
Glad to hear that you're bringing up things other than the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ties into the sidewalk. I'll touch the sidewalk slightly. But I think that I want to bring another part of 40B into it, and that's how it affects the neighborhood, and that's how it affects that. 40B is heavily loaded with comments right in their book about working with the neighborhood. Mr. Loberser couldn't be any more emphatic about he doesn't want to do this because he's done dozens of these, and this is probably one of the most painstaking thing he's done for this over this issue. So, just in Massachusetts Housing Partnership 40B for zoning board appeal 2017, developer has to address neighborhood concerns, and he's done that. I think my wife and I have sacrificed more than anyone for this 40B, and we'll see that in a minute. I'm not going to go through my letter. You read it. What I did was memorialize the issues that we've talked. We've gone back and forth every meeting. I tried to memorialize that. I haven't gone through that. I do want to touch on walkable Upton. Most of you think walkable Upton means that we're going to have a walkable Upton. That's not what walkable Upton is. During several public meetings, the chairman has referenced the town goal of creating a walkable Upton. However, the town's November 5th, 2019 adoption of the Upton Center Business District, UCBD, zoning article was intended to implement town center vision. The UCBD encompasses the town common, the town hall, the community center, the library, the churches surrounding town. The proposed 40B development located at 45 Main Street is not located in the UCBD. We have not identified language in the town master plan of UCBD documents established townwide policy regarding neighborhoods to be connected through pedestrian walkways. That's there. So anybody that keeps saying walkable Upton, that's not the vision of the town for every road to have sidewalks everywhere. It's the downtown area that the town's done. I want to make that very clear. We asked the board to consider the community impact on our property and the surrounding neighborhood. We certainly accept the loss of trees. Work diligently with the developer. We are going to have 400 feet of fence on our property, 400 feet. I think that's a significant give back for 40B. Could we have fought a lot of this? Could we have fought height? Could we have fought setbacks? We could have done that. But having worked in this business for a long time, I knew that the best way to do this was a friendly 40B, not for us to come here and argue every week about the setbacks. My wife and I want to say something in a second. Again, I'd appreciate if you'd read the letter. I am a little taken back by the chairman's comments. I'm not so sure that he deserves here to be making a statement. He's made numerous statements against me. I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but the board should police their own here. What he said tonight is I've never strong-armed anybody in my life. I've always been reasonable. I've always worked with people. Been the fire chief here. I've been a number of things, and to accuse me of strong-arming someone is an insult that should be apologized immediately. But you know what? I won't accept that apology.
You ended up at the town administration's office. You've been up to the police, you've been to the fire department. When people in town government take me aside and say, Bill, do you realize how many people?
Mr. Chairman, I really don't want to hear this. I don't want to get into this back and forth. We're trying to keep this in a manner that public boards should
I
do.
suggest we
And they should
memorialize
not get-
your concerns that are not part of the sidewalk.
So again, in closing, I think I'd like to show these photos. If you could show the next one for us. Can you flip that
I can try.
right click?
That would be expecting that.
Rotate.
Stand by. Here we go.
Okay, I
Is that the one
want
you
to see
want?
the next one first.
Yeah.
Just, one visual is worth 1,000 words. Here's my backyard. Here's what it looks like to the left. Here's what it's going to look like if we move the trees. And here's what it's going to look like when we're all done. And there's 175 feet of frontage across my backyard. And Mr. Loberser has agreed to do that work, remove the trees, put the fence up and plant additional trees. But you can see what it's going to do to my left-hand side. My quiet today. You show the next one. So
I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, next slide.
I don't know. You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
I do. Bill, are you?
Before we go to the next one, I'm not arguing with Dick whatsoever, like, we're very cordial, but for the record, I want to make sure people understand that that is a homemade AI. Yep. That is not the scale. And if there's one thing this board has learned from the last time, that is not indicative of an actual scale from our last project when we had that work. So I'm totally fine with the picture. I'm just making sure the board understands that same old thing. You look at the trees, the end of the property are like 80 feet tall.
I don't want to argue with my good friend.
No, I'm good. I was just,
But I have measured that tree right there that's next to my building, and that's 49 feet. So it is relatively close to what would be there. Now, is it right to the foot? I don't know, but that tree is.
Is as close to scale as I could get it, measuring the tree. So it is pretty close, and I superimposed the building behind it, taking off all but one level.
Helena, can you share your screen?
I'm trying.
So
Hold on.
we just show this. This has a
anybody-
bearing. We've accepted all this regardless of what the scale is.
Go to what? More. Okay. I was, okay.
Share. And then just.
Where do you see that? Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Bill, can you see that?
Now we can, yes, thank you.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you.
Maximize it.
Yep, no, I.
So have we look at it, it's going to be similar to this. Again, we've agreed to this. I don't want to
No,
discuss
I
it.
know the mouse is not moving correctly.
I'd like to go to the next slide. It's more,
And I think we have, there we go. All right, so now what would you like to do? Would you like to go up?
this is essentially our property, and essentially, Kevin, that's pretty close, isn't it?
I think I'm going to choose to not comment anymore
Switzerland.
because it is still not a
Well,
professional.
I'd appreciate if you would develop one then too. This is, we're trying to,
You have a legitimate point on this.
and this is the last one, and I think this is the one that we want to talk about. This is the additional 100 feet of fence. This is what it looked like from our driveway. It blocks us completely from our neighbor. I won't be able to see my neighbors. I don't care if we put 4-foot fence there. My neighbors will be blocked. My driveway will be blocked. I think this is indicative of this, and I don't think this walkway is, what would I say? I don't think it's a primary thing for 40B. I'm not even sure it was included in the 40B or would be included in the 40B, because the 40B project is the buildings and the fence line. It's not in the original plan. It's never been in the plan. So I think as you look at this over the next month or two, anybody that would like to come see the site, if you haven't been there, I offer anybody to come see the site, do it, and you may get another another thought. I think Mr. Davies' letter on insurance, I think that's right on. He's an individual who has been in the business for years and years, and I think he can see what it is. And I know in talking to David, he said he's having one of his HOA people sue their HOA because of an issue. So
You should be aware of that. But it's not up to us to be that. It's up to that association to make that decision. By the way, I did refer to that fence.
Yeah.
I don't know a 6-foot fence what we did there from the path. If what you want to do is stop spraying or then it's just, we don't see it.
So here's a question, and this is where I'm actually hopefully on your side here. Would it be better, would you prefer the fence to be on top of that earth mound that he's gonna put up there? Because I have no problem with saying put the fence up top or putting shrubbery along the top. I'm in agreement with you on this area, and we can agree on some things. Would you prefer the fence on top of the earthen mound that he's gonna put in? Or would you prefer the fence at the bottom with shrubbery on top of the earthen mound? Because that is something we can help you with.
I don't prefer the fence at that location.
You don't want the fence on the whole property line?
No, I don't want to discuss it at this time.
I'm confused as to what you'd prefer then, because we can put in, that is one thing that we would absolutely would say, if you want to have the fence there, we would suggest it or require it. And if you don't want to have the fence there, I wouldn't want to force the developer to put a fence in that you don't want. I don't know about the rest of the boards, but that's something we can help with.
The current landscape plan does not have a fence going down that path. And it has the 2-foot raised mound with the plantings and the fence along the back on top of it. So unless there's been another landscape plan done that hasn't been posted, what is being depicted in this picture is incorrect from the start, because there is no fence going down what is being suggested as the pathway. It doesn't exist in the current plan. Now, maybe Mr. Loberser can comment on that if I'm incorrect.
No, you are 100% right, Bob. And
Okay.
again, that's all I was saying is that we did not create these pictures.
Correct. So it's very misleading with the pictures, because that doesn't, when you cross-check it against the plan, and I've done it several times.
Yeah, Charlie, we have to take care of it.
What's that?
Yeah, Jeremy, we have to take care of it.
Oh, I know. It's just more and more.
Okay, keep it the same. Does anyone else have like to come up and say? This point?
Sorry, I just lost connection for a minute. So,
Yeah.
so we need to clean this up, because it's not accurate. And even the picture, as Kevin said, is not accurate, because the fence along the back isn't on the berm, doesn't have the planting in front of it. But we all understand what Mr. Henderson is trying to convey here.
So, just so you know, that's our sideline. Can you come up near the speaker? They can hear me. Those trees are existing trees already that are there on the left side. That is a true picture of our line. And all I did was superimpose an 8-foot fence behind it, because I don't want to be sitting there watching people throwing things, riding through, lights on, and every other thing that's going to go on in a 10 or 12-foot walkway where people are going to be coming out at all hours of the day or night. So I created those visions. Okay, that's what I envision I will be seeing, because I do not want people walking through there. So it has nothing to do with Mr. Loberser stating whether he would do one or not. That's what we asked him if we had to do this. The plot plan and the 40B plan never, ever included having a walkway out to Brook Street. Yet this board decided that they would put one in.
and put conditions on our neighborhood that is unreasonable, as far as I'm concerned.
The board has not imposed any conditions about there being a walk.
It hasn't made a decision yet, just to make it clear.
Correct.
Just to make.
Correct. There's been suggestions off, thoughts and ideas, but the plan does not depict it as a walkway. In fact, he's got to dig that area to put the 8-inch water main in, and then he's going to have to redress that area to some acceptable vegetation. But it's not, never has been, and I agree, never has been depicted as a walkway. We've suggested ideas, but the board has not made any of those decisions, nor has there been put in the draft conditions. So I think
to impose on a 40B a condition that was never even part of an original plan. Can someone answer me that?
Yeah.
Is it legal to be imposed a condition when it was never part of the original 40? Yes.
We often put conditions in. We put conditions in for landscaping and things like that.
So the project presented, and if I from the residents, let me just finish. That's what the conditions are.
So you unfence the property?
No, I'm not talking specifically.
Just conditions in general. or
Yes, in
Decisions
general,
made
when they vote on a
from the.
project, the conditions come from.
That's what I'm asking. I get what you're saying. You both, I understand that. If it was within the fenced area of the 40B complex, I would have nothing to stand on. But I feel I do because it wasn't part of the original plan. The plan was outlined on the property without that piece of outskirt property sticking out.
That was well known. That's my paragraph 8, is exactly that comment, that it was not put in there by anyone in the beginning. That's why I brought it up tonight, because I wanted to make sure that was clear.
So how do we find that it's legal?
It's also where in the chairman.
Yeah, we could ask the, Eric, you got a comment on that?
You're muted, Eric.
Sorry, that was
Eric,
a little
can you
broken
unmute?
up. Do I have a comment on what aspect of that?
Go ahead.
Is it legal for the board to apply conditions to a decision that were not originally part of the 40B?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's legal. I think we're still, I think there's still a debate going on here as to whether this is wise, or whether this is something that should be imposed on Brook Street. But I don't see an issue with the legality of it.
Thank you.
There's one other point I suggested. If you go ahead with coming up with conditions. Another condition should be that the extinguished as soon as the sun. Some sense, it's sort of various sides.
I'm sorry that broke up.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that.
Thank you. It's such a pain. Quietly. Okay, go ahead.
I've just seen the email from Michael to David, July 1st, and Michael also suggests that if we do put a path in, we put in a condition that it be extinguished by the HOA by then, when and if the sidewalk down 140 is built. And I think that's a reasonable condition to add if we go ahead with the permitting the path in the first place.
Or at least give them the option.
Yeah, no, I would say, given this discussion we've had, I would say make it mandatory that they extinguish it when the sidewalk is built. But that's something we can just, a minutia we can discuss.
It's nice to disagree.
And it'd be nice for everyone to try to go to the center. Because if we don't, we can spin our wheels on this for years. We don't want that. It has to be eventually a vote. It has to be years that I stay here, stay there forever. That's not what we want. So everyone try to pin the subject 10%. We can do that by the next meeting. Maybe we'll be close enough. That should be something. Yeah, you know how I feel. I've already put my 2 cents in there.
I just don't want to see this property on an island.
Well, again, that's why we come together and put the ideas together. I think my opinion is now is I think we beat this horse pretty well tonight.
Yeah.
We have gained some things. We have gained some information. We have some information given to us by our legal team as well. And I think unless there's another shining thing that needs to be brought up, we should draw this to a conclusion for now so that we're not here till 3 in the morning talking about it.
Just Kevin, I have one more question.
Sure.
The letter from Stantec, July 3rd, did you say you've addressed all of their comments on the July 3rd letter?
Yes, yeah, we submitted, and again, it was a week turnaround. We ended up submitting a new plan today as well. Response letter, so we'll make sure that our engineering team checks in with David whenever, I know he's away right now. Yeah, so it was a lot of people were away the past month, so yeah.
Elaine, if we can ask Stantec to have final comments, if we can ask Stantec to have final comments for August, that would be great.
Yes.
And have everything resolved by then.
Stantec hasn't looked at it yet.
No, not the plan we sent. The comments were only, it was I was leaving 3 calculations, and then they wanted the dimensions of the, I believe, of the parking spot.
Just to make sure you've addressed them. I know they're minor and some are on us, but.
Yeah, we need to hear back from them.
Yeah, we want a clean letter for August from them, Stantec saying, yes, they've done it.
Yeah, I think it here, right? Yeah. So Stantec gave 5-page thing on changes you're talking about. That was now in, that working.
It's like that.
No,
Yeah. It's necessary.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do. It was easy. We helped.
I won't even be here in August, so you're free of whatever trouble and cause.
No, that's fine.
I want to see more housing. I want to see more safety. I want to see more sidewalks. I don't think that walkable Upton only means in the town center.
That's the goal of the town.
But I don't think that that's the spirit of the.
Well, that's
no, that's fine. I agree. It's mine.
Visited that already.
I don't want to talk.
So let's leave that because we visited that already and it's already been presented.
I agree.
So please, let's that's a bit.
Bob, would you take a motion to continue this to August?
Yeah, yes. Can I have someone?
I make a motion, we continue this to the August meeting.
Okay. Bill, you made a motion. Second, please.
Did someone second it? It got blurry.
Made second to move to continuation to the next month.
Be August.
August 19th.
Okay, so
19th.
Yes.
It's breaking up. I couldn't hear that. Bob, can you?
everybody's house is up, but it's going ready.
Yeah, we have more work. Yeah, we're not done.
Not done yet.
We're done.
Kenny. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, David.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really.
We're still trying to find the baby in the right place. We're getting there. Do we have minutes from last?
Catch trying, I know, I kept trying to say it throughout the meeting. No, it was difficult for me to hear up here. No, I agree with you. I did say it one time, but yeah, I shouldn't. I know that. I know that.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. Oh, I had to fix it. I didn't reprint it.
I think I moved it as well.
Yes, so what I did was I changed it. I made two changes.
That's not what I'm asking.
I know,
It was-
paste is your, sometimes you recommend.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
But it was.
What we should do now?
This is, this is.
We continue, so we can't really talk.
Yes,
Yeah.
once the meeting is
Yes.
closed.
Finished.
Yep, we're not done. Okay, so the next, there were two small changes on the minutes that I made at the end. Just that some of the wording under approval of minutes, it should have said approval of minutes again, and it said approval of variance. So I fixed that, and I fixed who voted on that as well. Did anybody else?
Drop my name off one.
Which one?
I think it was at that last, the last one. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were there. It was, that's what I did. I put Dave instead of.
I've been put down for.
Okay, I fixed you. And I had you. Was there any, were there any other changes? That anybody?
We don't want to the house.
Okay, so once you guys are ready, we can vote to approve minutes.
Second.
Favor? Aye. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Bill and Eric?
Yeah. Yeah. My audio is getting really, really choppy, so it's getting more difficult.
Mine too. Yeah.
The last thing on the agenda was Mike had asked me to make a couple of changes on our application. Small changes. Second page I had highlighted. Second paragraph says that they can provide any acceptable proof of mailing. It doesn't necessarily have to be certified anymore. So that's one change. And then on or page 5 says 2 copies of your application. He had requested a cover letter explanation as well, which I think we kind of realized tonight was necessary. And then on the application itself, we have owner, tenant, licensed, purchaser, and then other. We just added other as an.
You need to vote on this?
Yeah, yes, we do. From what I understand, we have to vote on accepting the changes to this application.
Got from the bill. Added electronic mail to some of the options for some of the things that are not among those you listed. So we have to do this again.
Okay.
Should we go now or?
No.
Okay.
No, then we'll, no.
So wait.
Put on it now if we need to make changes. And we can put, yeah, absolutely. We don't need to take a vote on continuing that, correct?
Not bad.
No, okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Go to.
Just, sorry, I can't hear too well, but I do have one comment on the application.
Yes.
That's just that nothing to change right now, but with the updated changes to the zoning act, one of the things they've tried to implement, and I don't know how well this is going to work, but they've put in a provision allowing for electronic notice to abutters. Great idea to reduce.
So
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see that. And we'll.
Yep, so we're not going to vote on the changes just yet. We're going to wait and see what additional changes we'll need to make as a result of that.
Yeah, so it doesn't require towns to allow that, I don't think, or it doesn't really make clear how a town is going to get email addresses and certify that they are the correct addresses for abutters. It seems to be practically very difficult, but maybe there's a way to do this. If the town can implement it, it would be a good way to reduce costs for applicants.
Okay,
So I'll have to move to table this.
yeah, we'll definitely, yep.
So we vote to table it, right? Because we haven't done.
Nope.
Let's get a little.
Up to you, Mr. Chair.
Let me just get to,
I move to close the meeting.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
it is 8:30.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you all.